Why I chose Ho Chi Minh City to live. My short story, and I believe it's a pretty good one. So today I want to talk to you about my short story that was released on Amazon at the beginning of August, and I want you to make a judgment whether you think it's the right book to read. So, what is this story about? I'll give you the background. The very short background is that 13 years ago, I moved to Ho Chi Minh City to live. And essentially, this story is two things. One, it's kind of the backstory why I ended up choosing Ho Chi Minh City. And number two, it talks about my life living in Vietnam and where I've come from, that person who stepped off the plane with nothing other than a couple of suitcases, right through to the person that I am today, a story writer, I suppose. And it's only a short book. It's only 14,000 words. And the core of this book actually derived itself from a very special event that happened to me in 2025. And it's explained in the book in more detail, but essentially I won a writing competition in Ho Chi Minh City in Vietnamese for the 50th anniversary of the end of the Vietnam-America conflict. And that was pretty special. It was a pretty special moment in my life. And, you know, that book talks around that particular event and how it changed me and how it really gave a conclusion to that whole pathway of moving from Australia to Vietnam back in 2013. So there's the cover. It looks beautiful. Picture of my wife and I. My wife is a little bit AI affected. It was a little bit hard to get an actual face in there, but I did pretty well. And of course my dog Froppy, which really closes out the circle of solidity in my life, you know. A wife, a dog, an apartment, you know, what else does a man need? So today I want to answer a few questions about the book. Please stay with me. And if you want to actually see the book, go to the comments below and follow the links. Link number one is to my Google site, which will give you an overview of the book and also my other writings that I've completed this year, and also some Vietnamese ones I've done in previous years. The second link is to Amazon Books, where you can download or order a paperback copy in Australia and America. A little bit hard to order a paperback copy in Vietnam if you happen to be here, but you can certainly download the Kindle version for only $1.50. So please have a look at it.
I was swinging along, minding my business, when suddenly out of the blue, just like a present from heaven.
This is my home. Well, that is what the book is about. This is my home. It's about finding a home. And indeed, the essential reasoning behind why Ho Chi Minh City comes from that backstory. And might I say at this point that whilst it's not been released yet, my memoir of my childhood has been completed. The writing has finished, and it's currently with publishers being assessed, and it will be out in the near future, I hope, in 2026 or 2027. And it really talks deeper about why Ho Chi Minh City, because it goes all the way back to 1965, 1966, in the middle of or the beginning of the Vietnam War, essentially.
Beautiful, wonderful you. The clouds disappeared and the birds started singing a beautifully wonderful tune.
Look, when I touched down at Tan Son Nhat Airport in Ho Chi Minh City in 2012, again, the book talks to that in detail, but the feeling, I suppose if you want to give it a category, you would have to talk to that idea of, you know, a 6 or 8 year old child waking up on Christmas morning. The tension had been building up for so long, and in my case, it had been decades. And for me to actually realise that that dream, to get to that point where I'm here. It was just amazing. And it is so amazing that I suppose the emotions are hard to process. You are kind of confused, and you get to the other side of it, and you get to the hotel, or you check in and you get down to the bar and you have a beer and you go, what the hell just happened to me? It was just amazing. And I suppose that's why, as much as I've been through many bad days in Vietnam, in Ho Chi Minh City, I still hold on to that feeling, that original feeling of, oh my God, I'm here.
No longer lonely or blue, for I have been kissed by an angel. Beautiful, wonderful you.
What surprised me the most about Ho Chi Minh City was that it was much better than I ever expected. Coming from Australia, I suppose the logical expectation for me when I decided to come here for the first time, that it would be a poor, destitute, aggressive, thieving type of community. And it was exactly the opposite. Yeah, sure, there is still a lot of poverty, and it is developing. It's doing very, very well, actually. But the friendliness, the culture, the self-respect, those things really blew me away when I talk about Ho Chi Minh City.
Swing along, happy as ever, no longer lonely or blue, for I have been kissed by an angel. Beautiful, wonderful, marvelous, lovable, beautiful, wonderful you.
I had a very strenuous entry into marriage for the second time. Essentially, I never wanted to do it. I had the logical brain, and I had the emotional brain, and they were fighting each other. And so, I got married because of the quality of the person that I was marrying. When I talk about quality, I'm a little bit hesitant to detail quality, but it wasn't the most beautiful. Not that she's not beautiful, but it wasn't a supermodel. It wasn't those superficial things. It was the internal things, and I just knew that it was the right thing to do, because I had to start over sometime. I couldn't keep on running away from the reality of life. The reality of life is that you cannot run forever. Eventually life catches up with you. And, and I suppose in a way I did see in small ways that life was catching up with me, and I needed to make some good choices. And I can definitely say that, deciding to commit my life to my current wife, Loan, was one of the really good choices in life.
Now who could have thought this could happen? Who would have ever believed? Could it be true that someone like you could fall for somebody
Vietnam
like
is
me?
all about the small things. When a tourist comes here, you always see them. They say, "Oh, we're going to do 2 nights in Hanoi, and then 1 night in Da Nang, and 2 nights in Nha Trang, etc., etc." And they go there and they run around and they look at everything very quickly, but they don't actually see anything. In my book, and I use it quite often in both my newspaper stories and in writing in my books, I use the Graham Greene quote from the movie and the book, The Quiet American. He says, when you come to Vietnam, you learn a lot in a short time, but the rest has to be lived. And that is so true for this country. The value of it is not from seeing a temple or a bridge or a museum. The value of it is just sitting on the street corner having a coffee for an hour and watching people go around, and then the chance meeting of someone that they may want to speak English with you, or you might want to speak Vietnamese with them. You know, the value of this country is in those small things that tourists really miss out on because they're too busy trying to see the country and they don't get to feel it. And with 13 years experience in this country, I've had some immense experiences where I've been able to feel the country as well as see it in its smallest form. And it's really, really beautiful. It really motivates me to keep on going down that pathway that I've taken and then I chose 13 years ago. You know, it's pretty special.
For no other song could be worthy of beautiful, wonderful you. Now who could have thought this could happen?
Sharing vulnerable things in the book is very funny, and in this one, because it's only 14,000 words, there are some smaller ones. Of course, my big memoir, I Love You But I Don't Like You, which is yet to be released, has a lot more. And the way that you write vulnerable parts to the book is that you have to go through a process of rewriting. And that's what I did in this book. You need to write it as a hurt person, and then you need to edit that writing as someone a step below that, you know, someone who's not quite so vulnerable and hurt and angry. And eventually, after you edit it and edit and edit, you get to a point where you use the skill that I have of a newspaper writer or article writer, and you apply your reader's brain and say, what would the reader like to see in that story that shows your vulnerability but makes it appealing to the reader? Because what I found was that when I was writing things that I was very, very, very vulnerable stories, when they actually came out in the first draft, they were just awful. They were either hard to understand, or it wasn't that they were so tragic they were hard to read. It was just that they were, in a way, almost boring, because you focused on the pain that was inside you and not the bigger story. And so that's why it took a lot of rewrites to get it to a point where it was a readable story. But it is very difficult. You got to go through a process. You just can't go, oh, that was a bad thing that happened, I'm just going to write about it and people can read it, because it's not social media. That's why there are so many bad things on social media these days, because people think it right or post it. And that's not what a good book is about. All right, guys, so thank you for your time. Thank you for listening about my book, why I chose Ho Chi Minh City to live. As I said, follow the links below. You can read more at my Google site, or you can indeed buy the book in paperback or for download through Amazon, which is in the link below. I'm very, very proud of this book. I'm proud to be able to tell my story, and I'm proud to be able to share it with you. So I hope you enjoy reading it as much as I enjoyed preparing it and writing it for you, yeah? Thanks, guys. I'm Ray. I'm an Aussie in Vietnam. Follow my YouTube page. Follow my Instagram page, An Aussie in Vietnam, and also on TikTok. And I will see you again very, very soon.